So in looking at this list of 7 wedding ring myths, it kind of symbolizes that based on what happened, my marriage is doomed.
There we go.
How'd that feel?
If we stop and rewind the tape, you can see that right about here, I hit my hand against the rock, and that's when it happened. My wedding ring broke. Kind of focus, there we go. Somehow, my wedding ring broke. Good news is it's under warranty. Bad news is I found 7 myths about wedding rings, and it's got me a little bit concerned for my marriage. Wedding ring myth number 1 has to do with a loose ring that falls off. The idea here is that if you have a loose ring that falls off, you did not put in the time and care necessary to size and fit it properly. And that those same values carry over into the marriage, that there'll be a lot of forgetfulness and lack of care, and thus your marriage is doomed. Wedding ring myth number 2, also interesting. It has to do with the idea that the wedding ring can tell the gender of your unborn child. According to wedding ring myth number 2 here, you're supposed to tie a string to the wedding ring and dangle it over the baby bump of the expecting mother. If the ring swings linear back and forth, well, that's destined to be a boy. If the ring swings circular, you're destined to have a girl. There is no science behind that. That is probably the most absurd one. They're all kind of absurd, but this is the most absurd one, I think, of the whole list. Wedding ring myth number 3 is that a ring that is too tight symbolizes a marriage that will fail because it shows a lot of tension and constraints and restrictions. And that's just it. It's straight over applied directly into your relationship. If your ring is too tight, then your spouse is confining you in so many ways that it's not healthy and the relationship will end. I think this one's kind of stupid as well, because most people get married young, and as you grow, your fingers get bigger. That's why a lot of ring manufacturers offer warranties with their rings. So this one is like subject to happen due to age. Very, very silly. Does anybody else out there do this? Wedding ring myth number 4 is actually dropping the ring during the ceremony, and stop right there. Contrary to what you're probably thinking, this myth is actually a good one. It says that if you drop the ring during your wedding ceremony, now, according to number 1, if you drop it any other time, your marriage is doomed. But if you drop it during the marriage ceremony, it's actually good luck and good fortune, because the bouncing and vibrating when it hits the floor is supposed to shake off all the evil spirits from the ring, from the room, and cleanse the whole atmosphere, and your marriage is bound to succeed. So if you ever did drop the ring on wedding day, or know somebody who did, according to this, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Wedding ring myth number 5 has to do with why, oh why, do we put the ring on the ring finger, the third finger? This is actually interesting. Out of all the myths, this one kind of makes the most sense. Way back, the ancient Greeks thought that there was a vein in this particular finger that ran all the way directly to the heart. And if you're symbolizing your love for someone, the best finger to put the ring on is the only finger they believed that had the vein leading directly to your heart. Ring myth number 6 is that all rings have to be made of gold or silver because it shows value and trust in your partner. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily a myth. I think this is just a tradition that's been going on for ages. You give your spouse something of value to show your trust. But lately, people are doing away with that because rings are so darn expensive. People are getting tattoos or wood rings. I mean, in the case of mine, this was tungsten. So does that instantly mean that my wife only trusts me and cares for me as much as the value of tungsten? What is the value of tungsten anyway? Wedding ring myth number 7, the one that applies to me, so to speak, is what happens if your ring breaks. Now, this is the one I saw when I was looking on how to fix my ring. This is the one that I saw and raised an eyebrow at. Now, this one is, from what I've read, kind of sexist. It says that if your wedding ring breaks, that your marriage is destined to fall apart as well, and a lot of the things I read said it's usually attributed to the husband. I guess I have to modernize this to the times. Whatever spouse you have, it's the spouse's fault that the wedding ring breaks. And the only way to resolve that is for the spouse to put the wedding ring back proper on the person's finger who it's supposed to belong to. Old wives' tales, superstitions are telling me that my marriage is doomed because I broke my ring.